All right, so hello everybody. Hello. So this is just going to be a quick tips video for anybody who has just picked up fighters and doesn't know how to play, or maybe has had the game for a while but is looking for more specific information about how everything works. I know we got that tournament coming up, so I'm hoping that everybody can get some use out of this video, maybe learn something new. And if you haven't gotten the game already, maybe this will convince you to pick it up because it's super fun and I want more people to play it. So hopefully you find this video useful. If you have any suggestions for me, or maybe if you want me to make another video like this, do let me know and I will do so. So let's get right into it. First of all, this guy over here, most important NPC in the game. This is Z Capsule Man. He sells you capsules with colors for your character's outfits and also stickers and stuff like that. So you can't buy anything else in the game. This man runs the entire economy. He's very important because if you have a good color coordinated team and a good sticker loadout like this, you don't even need to learn any of this stuff I'm about to teach you. You've already won the game at that point. You're a god. So you go ahead and talk to him, you get yourself right, and then you can bounce on over here and actually learn how to play the game. So this is training mode. This is Practice Man right here. He lives on this cloud right next to the entrance. He's got a couple different options for you. So he's got Combo Challenge, Battle Tutorial, and Training. Combo Challenge we're going to skip for right now. This just has you do a couple combos for whatever character you select. They're good for practicing and seeing what moves you can chain together, and if you need to practice jump canceling or something, this is good, but ultimately none of the combos you learn in here are that useful for actual real life gameplay. So yeah, good to practice but not necessary. You can skip it if you want to. The next thing he has is Battle Tutorial. This is the game's tutorial. It teaches you, what your buttons do, what the basic mechanics of the game are. If you haven't done this already, I highly recommend that you do it. It's very helpful. A lot of people, Dragon Ball FighterZ is their first fighting game, so their tutorial system as a consequence of that is pretty extensive. It's very helpful. Actually, once you've done that tutorial, there's more tutorials. Over here, this guy next to the entrance, this is Boot Camp Reception, or it's also called the Fighter's Dojo. I'm not going to go in there because I don't want to sit through the loading screen, but in there's basically a bunch of characters standing around, and if you talk to them, they will give you a new set of tutorials. So it's like tutorial part 2 after you do the first one, and it's more of a deep dive on specific mechanics of the game, like Piccolo, he teaches you how to block, Krillin teaches you how to use your assists, stuff like that. It's very, very helpful. I highly recommend that you do it. Also in boot camp, you can do tournaments against the computer. So if you've, learned a bit, you want to test your skill, but you don't actually want to jump into online gameplay, you can go in here and do tournaments against the computer. And if you win, you get little stickers for your player cards, so that's nice. But yeah, I highly recommend doing the tutorials. They're very, very useful. Oops, let's go ahead and jump into training mode. I recorded this originally on PS4 where I had all the characters, but I'm doing it on PC now because it didn't quite work. But I want to say about character selection, if you're just picking up the game or you're a new player and you don't know who to play, literally just play whoever you want. It doesn't matter. You don't need to worry about having a super balanced, super structured team, especially if you're just playing casually with friends. You can play whatever character you want to. The only character I recommend you don't play is this guy, Master Roshi. First of all, I don't know why anyone would want to play Master Roshi, but second of all, he doesn't have a superdash, which is one of the gameplay mechanics that's very important, especially for new players. We'll talk about exactly what that is in a minute. But because he doesn't have that mechanic, for new players and even intermediate players, his toolset's a little bit different. You have to play him differently from how you would play any other character, so I don't recommend trying to learn the game with this character. Other than that, everybody else is pretty much fair game. Some characters are harder to play than others, for example, Hit, Janemba. These characters work a little bit differently than Super Saiyan Goku does, so it's a little bit harder to learn their moveset. But it's not impossible, so if you want to play one of those characters, or Majin Buu or something, just go for it, see what works for you, experiment. If it ends up being too difficult for you to learn right now, you can always just pick a different character, it's no big deal. So I'm going to go ahead and select my characters. So once you've selected your team, the first thing that pops up is this. This is your Z assist selection. Each character has 3 Z assists, A, B, and C, like that. It's really just a matter of personal preference what you want to use, but we'll talk more about Z assists in a second. Second thing you choose is the color. This is, like I said, the most important part of the game. If your team looks cute, but you suck at the game, then you're fine. Don't even worry about it. So we'll get Pumpkin Squad going. There we go. Look at them. They're beautiful. And then we'll go ahead and select our opponent's team for training mode. Another thing about character selection, if you don't know who to play, but you're just looking for like an easy team to pick up to just learn the mechanics, and then you can select what characters you actually like next, I would say the easiest characters to play are going to be Super Saiyan Goku, Super Saiyan Vegeta. Goku Black's pretty easy to play. Adult Gohan as opposed to Kid Gohan right here. Adult Gohan. Krillin. Teen Gohan is also pretty easy to play. Basically any of the Z fighters except for, Tien as well. Any of the Z fighters except for Yamcha, the blue-haired ones, and Piccolo. Yamcha does not play the same way as a lot of other characters do. He's kind of hard to pick up. I know a lot of you probably want to play Yamcha, and if you want to play Yamcha, go ahead and go for it. Just be aware that some of the tips I'm going to give you about combos don't work for Yamcha. So yeah, I would probably avoid him if you're just trying to play an easy character. But any of those other Z fighters, go for it. So I'll do that, and then I'll put Yamcha on here. Perfect. This is the map selection, so we'll just go here. Another thing I want to say about the game in general is, especially if you're new to fighting games, trying to pick this game up might seem a little difficult. There's a lot of unnatural hand motions that you have to make and a lot of stuff you have to learn, and it might seem kind of overwhelming. First of all, don't be overwhelmed by anything I'm going to show you here. You can do all of it. It just might take a little bit before you truly can apply everything you learn. But you can do it. Don't give up. It'll be fine. Another thing is, if it seems like it's going to be too difficult, it probably isn't. It just requires a lot of practice. And if you don't want to practice it, then, that's totally fine too. Not everybody does. Some people just want to button mash, and that's a completely valid way to do things as well. But if you do want to learn, I promise you can do it. It was very hard for me to learn some of this stuff when I first started playing, and now look at me. I'm a Sonic Fox's anime rival, so it's going to be all right. You can do it, and don't get frustrated. Winning isn't everything, and if you don't get something right away, just keep trying, and it'll be just fine. So try not to stress out while you're playing the game. Down here, this is your super gauge, this little yellow bar that says 7. This shows how much super meter you have. When the game starts, let me turn it off, it will actually be 0 like this, and then you gain super meter throughout the match by doing various things. You use super meter to execute EX moves, which are like a special type of attack that does more damage, and you also use it to do super moves, which are those cinematic moves that look like this. It's these like cinematic ones. You may have seen it if you've seen anyone play this game, but that's what you use your bar for. You gain bar in a couple different ways. So the first way is simply by walking towards your opponent. You see the little green bar is filling up. This is because the game wants to reward aggressive actions like approaching your enemy, so that's why that happens. You can also gain bar by attacking your opponent like this. It does it much faster than if you're just like walking towards them. You can also gain bar by being attacked, so if you watch Piccolo's bar, it actually fills up while I'm hurting him. And you can also gain bar by blocking attacks, so if I can get Piccolo to block here, you'll see that his bar does fill up a little bit while he's blocking. That's the main ways you can get super meter. That's all you really have to worry about, actually. So that's that, and then, like I said, you use those for supers and for special moves, which we'll talk more about towards the end of the video. I want to talk about your sparking gauge, which I said I would, so promise is kept. So if I attack Piccolo, you will notice that his health bar right here, the yellow part is health that he still has, the black part is health that is gone, but then that blue part in the middle, that is what's called recoverable health. Basically what that means is he can get all of that back if he does one of a few things. So the first and easiest way to get your health back is by switching out, so I'm going to switch him out. And you'll see that his blue section of his life bar is actually starting to come back a little bit more slowly. It's turning into yellow health. That means when he comes back into the arena, he's going to have more health than when he left. So if I switch him back now, see he recovered all of that blue health, and now Goku's recovering his blue health. So that's the easiest way to get your health back. The other way is by sparking, which, like I said, is this little lightning bolt thing right here. That's your sparking gauge. You get 1 per match, and I'll show you what it looks like. When you spark, which by default is going to be, I think you press your right bumper and your right trigger together, but for me it's going to be a little different. This is what it looks like. You kind of explode in this flash of red light and you start sparkling. The main function of this is that it heals your blue recoverable health, so if I switch to Piccolo here and spark, you'll see that it started healing his health for him, which is nice. The other thing it does is it actually makes your attacks do more damage. So if I attack Piccolo, you'll see that that attack did 700 damage, but if I spark and then attack him with that same move, now it's doing 840 damage. So those are the 2 main functions of your sparking. Like I said, you only get 1 per round, but it does heal your blue health and it will make your attacks do more damage. It also like throws them off of you like that. So if you're stuck blocking and someone's right in your face, you could just pop that and then all of a sudden they're flying across the screen away from you and you're at least a little bit safer. So that's another good reason to use it. I'll talk more about the strategy of trying to use your sparking when I talk about like teching combos and things like that. So we'll get to that in a minute, but that's the gist of it. The other thing I forgot to mention, this thing right here that says red team with all these buttons, that's just showing you what I'm doing with my controller, so you can see when I move back it shows the little red ball moving. If I press a button, it also will pop up right there that I'm pressing it. That's just to help you guys out while I'm making the video. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is movement. Movement is a big part of this game because obviously it's a big screen and moving across it like to and away from your opponent is a big deal. You want to know where you are on the screen. It's good to strategize. So there are a couple different options you have for movement. You can walk forwards, walk backwards, sprint forwards by pressing forward twice, and then you can hop backwards by pressing back twice. You can't sprint backwards, but you can do that, which is called a backdash. It's like a little hop. So that's your ground options. For jumping, you can just normal jump. You can double jump in the air. You can jump forwards, jump back, and then you can do something called a moon jump or a super jump. What you do is you press down and then up in rapid succession like this. If I just jump normally and then moon jump, you can see that I jump a little bit higher with a super jump. The main reason you would super jump as opposed to just regular jump is to confuse your opponent, or some combos require you to super jump, but that's more advanced stuff, so you don't need to worry about that. Super jumps, you can actually control the speed at which you fall. So if I super jump and then hold up, he actually falls a little bit slower, you see that? And then if I super jump and hold down, if I could do it, he actually falls quite a lot faster. So that's just a more controlled jump is basically what that is. You can also do something called air dashing. That's when you jump in the air and then you do the sprint motion, so forward or backwards twice, and you do this little like rocket thing where you just go forward super fast, go backwards super fast. That's air dashing. If you see something like you look up combos online and you see something called an instant air dash, that's a more complicated motion. It looks like that. I mean, if you're new to the game, don't worry about it. Maybe I'll make another video about it, so look out for that. So that's all of your jumping options, all of your sprinting options. The last movement option you have is going to be your super dash, which is this. That's what it looks like. You just kind of fly through the air. That is going to be your right trigger on your controller. And super dash is really good. It actually homes in on your opponent, so Piccolo's just standing still right now, but if I were to like send him up into the air, you'll see that I just kind of track his position and go right to him. Super dash is really good to cover distance. It's also important for combos like that. But I will say about super dash, if you're just doing it to close in on your opponent, be very careful because it is very easy to get knocked out of the sky. So if I have Piccolo super dash me, you'll see that I can just see him coming, knock him out of the sky, and then get a full combo on him. So if you are going to be super dashing, try to just be smart about how you're doing it. It could backfire on you pretty easily. Like any tool, try not to abuse it. That move I'm doing right there is called a down heavy, by the way. It's the typical way that you will get people who are super dashing. You just press down and then your heavy attack button, which in the case of the PS4 is circle, and then I believe on Switch it's B. Let me check really quick. Excuse me, on Switch it's A, so That's your down heavy. That's how you get people up in the air, and it's also how, if you see someone super dashing, if you down heavy, you'll launch them up into the sky like that. We'll talk extensively about buttons in just a second. Okay, so that's your movement options. Unfortunately, the next thing we have to talk about is blocking. I know nobody wants to block. I don't want to block. I know you don't want to block. Nobody wants to block, but unfortunately, it's a big part of the game, so you do at least need to know how to do it, and then if you choose not to do it later, that's fine. That's up to you. So there's 2 ways to block in the game. The first way is called a stand block, where you stay standing and are blocking, and you just hold back like this. If you're not actively getting hit, then you'll just walk backwards like that, but that's how you do a stand block. Let me actually set Piccolo to block here. Stand block, that's what it looks like. You're just standing there. The other way to block is crouch block, which is holding back and down like this. You can see my little red ball where I'm pushing. So you can crouch block like that. The reason there are 2 different ways to block in the game is because there are basically 2 different kinds of attacks that you need to block differently. So if I attack Piccolo here, there's basically 3 different ways I can hit him. This is my regular attack, and it just kind of hits him in his center of mass, right? That's what a regular attack looks like. I can also do a low attack like this. So as you can see, I'm kind of hitting him in the ankles now. The other type of attack is an overhead attack, which, as the name might imply, you hit him in the head. So usually your opponent will be jumping above you to do an overhead, but not always. But that's the 3rd place that you can get hit. The basic principle is you cannot block a crouching attack and an overhead attack in the same way. You'll notice that if I hit him with an overhead attack or a standing attack, he just blocks standing. But if I hit him with a low attack, he crouches down. That's because you can't block both at the same time. So if I set him to only stand block, he can block his normal attack, he can block his overhead attack, but he cannot block a crouching attack while he's standing up like that. If I set him to crouch block, boop, like that, normal attack, crouch block, overhead attack hits him. So you have to switch your blocking when you're in a block string. So most of the time what you want to do is you want to crouch block, because these low attacks like that, those are much faster than overhead attacks and therefore harder to react to. And then when you see your opponent go over your head like this, then you stand up to block. That sounds easy in principle, but I mean, good luck. It's not super easy to do. You kind of have to react to what your opponent is doing to block all of their attacks, especially if I do something like this. Like, that was like 3 normal attacks, and an overhead, and a low attack, and then some other random stuff, so good luck. But that's the basic principle. You can also get hit cross-up. I can't do it on 17, but let's see. What you can do is you can jump over people and hit them from the other side when you're in a block string. I can't do it because I suck. There you go. I don't know if you saw that, but people can also hit you cross-up like that, where they jump over you super fast and hit you from the other side. If you're a beginning player, you don't need to worry about this. People are not going to be crossing you up all the time or anything like that. But just so you know, for future reference, the way you block something like that is when you see them go over you, you just switch to blocking the other way really quickly. And that's pretty much it. So that's it for blocking. We don't have to talk about blocking anymore. You're welcome. The other defensive tool you have is called a reflect. That's what that looks like. Let me switch back to 17. All characters have this except for Videl. You do this by pressing back and your special button, which on PS4 is going to be X, and on Switch, I should just move this over here. On Switch, that's your B button, is your special attack button. You guys can see right here the layout of the buttons. So, you know, if you look at your controller, like the light, that's your X on PS4, or excuse me, your square on PS4. The medium attack, that's your triangle. Heavy is your circle. Special is your X. So it's laid out the same way on all console controllers. But reflect is back S, so you hold back and press S at the same time. So what your reflect does is it will throw your opponent off of you. So if I can get Piccolo to attack me real quick, counterattack settings, just do like a heavy attack. So you see how I used reflect, and when he tried to attack me, he just got thrown away. That's what your reflect does. The only character that can't reflect is Videl. She has something called a spot dodge, which is slightly different. It's the same motion, back S, but instead of reflecting like that, any attack that, if you try to hit her while she's doing that, your attack will go through her. It also has a different function than reflect, but that requires me to explain a lot about Videl, and it's not what this video is about, so Definitely, if you're going to play Videl and you're curious about how that works, I would say either look it up or you guys can just ask me about it on the Discord, because I used to play Videl, so I can let you know another time. But yeah, that's Reflect. That's your other defensive option, as opposed to just blocking any attacks that come your way. It's pretty useful, but it is kind of hard to use. You can get Dragon Rushed out of it, but we'll talk about Dragon Rush in just a second. Next, we're going to talk about buttons and what all of your buttons do. A general tip for when you start playing this game and you're trying to get more serious about it, what you should do is you should go into training mode like this with your whole team and literally just press every single button. Just find out what everything does. Try it, just press it normally, just do like X, square, triangle, circle. Sorry, I'm used to Xbox controls. Square, triangle, circle, special move. Do it in the air, because sometimes your moves are different in the air. Like, for example, 17's is at a slightly different angle in the air. And then do it crouching as well, because typically characters will have different moves standing versus crouching, and you crouch just by holding down. So just hit all of your buttons, see what they do. That's pretty much it. Some characters even have different moves if you hold forward, as opposed to just having it in neutral, which is when you're not holding any direction. So yeah, I recommend going into training mode and literally just pressing every button crouching, and then pressing every button in the air. And that's how you start to learn what your characters can do. That's important to do because you need to know how to hit your opponent. Like, for example, if I didn't know anything about 17's moves, I wouldn't know what the correct option in this situation when Piccolo is this distance from me would be. But if I've tried all of his buttons, I know that this attack is not going to hit him, but this attack will. So that's why it's important for you to look at every single attack and just see what it looks like. I mean, you don't have to remember what every single thing looks like the first time you do it, but it's good to know. So buttons, I'll talk about the bumpers now. We already talked about this one. This is super dash, that's your right trigger. Your left bumper, or excuse me, your right bumper is Dragon Rush, which looks like this. This little green aura pops up around you and you kind of dash forward a little bit. If you connect with your opponent, it looks like this. You kind of like run up to them and start punching them a bunch, and then you fly up into the air. When you fly up into the air, you can just let them drop like that, or you can actually continue your combo like this. Either way. Dragon Rush, the reason you use it is because it is unblockable. So if I have Piccolo block my attacks like this, you see I'm not hitting him, but then I Dragon Rush, he can't block it. The reason he can't block it is because it's something that is called a throw or a grab. In general, throws and grabs are not blockable. You have to jump out of them or do something to get out of them. Most characters don't have throws, except for Dragon Rush. Everybody has Dragon Rush. Characters like Broly and stuff tend to have a lot of grabs. It's just a different type of character. Some characters are grapplers, which means they have a lot of throws. But like some characters will just have random ones, like Tien has one throw, like that. The way you get out of a throw, or Dragon Rush in general, is you have to jump out of it. So if I set Piccolo to jump, like this, you'll see he can just jump right over me. I can't hit him because he's jumping. So when you see someone Dragon Rushing you, jumping is a valid strategy. You can just jump away from them. You can also punch them out of it. So if I set Piccolo to punch, is that the right button? Yeah, okay. And then I try to Dragon Rush him, you see he just punches me before I can even connect with him. So that's also a valid strategy. Oops. The other way for Dragon Rush specifically, not for other throws, but for Dragon Rush, is you can break a Dragon Rush, or you can tech it, is the layman's term, is teching a Dragon Rush. So it looks like this. So as you can see, we kind of punched each other a little bit, and neither of us got an advantage. We didn't fly up into the sky, we just kind of flew away from each other. The way you do this is by pressing Dragon Rush at the same time as, or slightly after, your opponent does it. So you see them coming to Dragon Rush you, and you also Dragon Rush, and that's how you do that. This is pretty difficult to do. It takes a lot of practice. It also takes some experience because it's very fast, so most normal human beings cannot react to it. But you have to know when your opponent is going to try to use it on you, which is, again, something that comes with experience and knowing more about the game. So if you can't do this right away, don't even stress about it. A lot of people can't. It's not like you're not gonna make or break your gameplay by just knowing how to drag and rush tech. So that's that. I also wanted to say about Dragon Rush 2, you can use Dragon Rushes in your combos by doing this. So say I launch them up into the sky, doot, 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 and then I'm going to vanish. I'll talk about vanish in just a sec, and then I can Dragon Rush to send them back down to the ground. That is an option, but if you're going to be doing combos like that, you can only Dragon Rush once. So if I try to Dragon Rush here, launch them up into the sky, vanish, try to Dragon Rush again, I just miss him. So you can only Dragon Rush once per combo, so just keep that in mind. We're going to talk about the left bumper and left trigger now. Your left bumper and your left trigger correspond to your assists, which are your other teammates. What it is the left bumper corresponds to the second person in line, and the trigger corresponds to the third person in line. And they do change, so like if I were to somehow get my team out of order by switching out, and TN were to be in the third slot, he would now be on the left trigger as opposed to the left bumper. But this is what your assist looks like. You just tap the button, which is A1 and A2 on here. That's A1's the bumper, A2 is the trigger. So if I just tap the button, he kind of pops up for a second. They do a little attack. What they do is dependent on which assist you chose. Like I said, there's 3 here. It just depends on personal preference which one you want to use. Like, I don't find that assist, it's not bad or anything, but that assist is not as good as this assist in my opinion, so I just have that one instead. Just experiment with your team, see what works for you, see what you like, what you get the most use out of, and yeah, that's just personal preference really. You can also use your left bumper and your left trigger to switch in. The default is you press forward and you tap the button of whichever person you want to switch into, and you will switch into them. I personally have it changed, so I can't do that. I just have to hold the button for a second, and you just hold the button and your teammate will swap in. Pretty useful. For your assists, the reason you need assists is twofold. Assists are extremely helpful, so if you're not using them already, I recommend that you try to start using them. Your teammates are trying to help you, please let them help you. You can use them in combos like this. So as you can see, Janemba is going to pop up for a second and allow me to continue my combo, so thank you, Janemba. You can also use them to cover the screen, like TN's assist here. As you can see, it kind of covers the bottom of the screen. The utility of that is while he's doing that, I can kind of run underneath his beam, and I can't get hit while I'm under there because it's protecting me. So Piccolo has a good example of this with Goku's assist. As you can see, Goku's assist covers the entire bottom of the screen, so he can just kind of run along with it and, you know, either get a hit on me or just protect himself as he's approaching me, stuff like that. So yeah, definitely use your assists, experiment with them, throw them out every now and again just to see what they do. When you start working on combos, they are invaluable. You get so much damage when you use your assists in combos, it's ridiculous. So definitely start using those. The other thing you can do with your assist buttons is you can guard cancel. No, I don't want to turn that on. I want Piccolo to attack me. I'll just turn on the training bot. So if Piccolo's attacking me, and I am like, man, I want to get out of here, what I do is, you can do that. So what that is it's called guard cancel. While you're being attacked, if you press forward and then press your assist button while you're being attacked, while you're in block stun is what it's called. So while you're blocking an attack, you quickly press forward and your assist button, and now you can switch in. You do have to be blocking. If you get hit, it doesn't work. And it has to be while you're actively blocking an attack. So we talked about assists, so now we're going to talk about auto combos. Okay, so if you are intimidated by the combo process and you're like, Bionic, I don't know how to do a combo, it seems really hard, what is going on here? This is so many buttons, I can't do it. First of all, yes you can do it, I believe in you. Second of all, the game's going to help you out. It's going to do combos for you anyways. So what you can do when you're learning is you can actually just do something called an auto combo. And that is when you hammer on one button repeatedly and the game executes a combo for you. So if you like look down here, I'm just going to press my square button over and over again and it's going to execute this entire combo for me. I am just going ham on this thing. I am button mashing like no tomorrow and it's just doing an entire combo for me. This is what's called an auto combo. It's just a mechanic of the game that is there to help you out, especially when you're learning. It does a fair bit of damage. Everyone has a different auto combo, so it does a little bit of damage that changes depending on what character you're playing, but that did like 2,000 damage. That's not terrible. You can also do a medium auto combo. That was the light auto combo that I just did. The medium auto combo requires you to have 1 bar of super because it ends with a super attack, so let me show you what that looks like for TN. You can see that I lost a bar and it did that tri-beam, so that's what a medium auto combo looks like. It does a little bit more damage, is why you would do that instead of the light one. But that's really nice if you don't know how to do a combo. Just button mash this and that, and you're all set. I will say, I see a lot of beginner players doing this, and I'm not sure why, but I'm just here to warn you to not do it. When you're auto-comboing like this, okay, so you see how it zoomed in on him for a second there, and it was like a little cinematic, like this, that. When I see players doing auto-combos, a lot of you will just stop right there. Like, you'll stop pushing the button right there, and you'll just let your opponent fly away. Do not do this. You can actually keep going, so just keep pressing the button. You see that cinematic attack? Keep going. It isn't until your character launches the other person back down to the ground that the auto combo is over. So continue pressing the button until you get that. That's just a little fun tip, because I don't know, I see a lot of people doing that, and it's painful. I want you guys to get your full combo. So that's auto combos for you. I will say about auto combos, they do not do as much damage as manual combos. So if I do this again, so that did 2,235 damage. If I do TN's manual combo, where I press every button individually, that did almost 1,000 more damage. So definitely when you're ready to take that jump from doing auto combos to doing manual combos, please do take that jump. If you just want to button mash, then no big deal. You can still do damage without having to learn manual combos, but if you want to do more damage, I recommend learning how to do manual combos for sure. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and talk about some slightly more advanced stuff like special moves and directional inputs. We already talked about some directional inputs. Like I said, when you crouch, your moves are slightly different than what they are when you're standing. That's an example of a directional input. Most directional inputs, when people talk about them though, they're talking about quarter circle motions. Like that. Let me actually get Yamcha in here so I can break his legs. That's a quarter circle motion. If you see my little red ball here, you can see me moving a quarter circle motion around the pad while I'm doing those moves. Quarter circle motions, it's like one of the barriers to people playing the game because they don't know how to do this. It's definitely not like an easy motion for your hand to make. You do need to practice this when you first start playing. But once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. It kind of just comes naturally to you. You do need to do these quarter circle motions in order to do all of your special moves and super moves. So, I mean, if you don't want to practice them and you just want to button mash, then no big deal, you can do that, like I said in the auto combo section. But if you do want to sort of level up your skill and do manual combos and things like that, you do need to know how to do a quarter circle motion. The way you do it is by rolling your thumb across your D-pad in this motion, so down and over. And I do recommend using the D-pad. If you have some sort of like chronic pain issue or something where you can't use the D-pad, using the joystick is also fine, but if you can use the D-pad, I recommend that you do. It is far more accurate than the joystick is, at least in the case of normal console controllers. If you have an arcade stick, it's different. But I do recommend using the D-pad. You roll your thumb in the direction. So to practice this, what I recommend you do is, first of all, I'll find a video of someone doing it so you can see what it looks like. Second of all, what you can do is come into training mode and go here to info display settings. Go to display virtual controller at the top here and then just turn it on to either up, down, or left, right, whichever works for you. And then just make this motion over and over again until it's nice and crisp like that, like what I'm doing. That's what you want it to look like. And then once you've done it like 10 times, go over here to the other side, to the player 2 side, and do it again. Just keep doing it. You gotta go both ways. Eventually, you'll be a natural at it. You'll be a professional. Once you've got the motion down, you can start working in actual buttons. What you want to do is you want to do the motion and hit the button kind of at the same time. You may need to experiment with the timing a little bit before you get it down, but that's what it looks like. Yeah, that's forward and backwards for you. There's tons of guides online for how to do this too if my guide is not sufficient for you, so do look it up if you're having problems with it. But that's the gist of it. That's how you do your quarter circles. You also do your super moves that way. you do your super moves by doing your quarter circle forward or quarter circle back and using either the right bumper or right trigger. So like this is quarter circle forward, right bumper. And this is quarter circle back, right trigger, killing Jiaozu. You can see what your special moves are by going in here, but let me fix this really quick. I don't know why it does that. But yeah, your quarter circle forward and quarter circle back motions are very important. You can mix them into your block strings and confuse your opponent. So if I have Yamcha block, and you know, he's not getting hit, I'm having problems hitting him, I could do my grab. That's my quarter circle forward heavy attack. So it's good for mixing into that. It's good for your combos. One of Tien's main combos involves a quarter circle motion at the end of his combo right there, his volleyball fist. So it's definitely, it's not like an advanced topic or anything, but as you get better at the game, you do need to know these. They're extremely integral to gameplay. So definitely take a look at that and try practicing them. Let's move on to special moves, which is kind of related to the quarter circle moves. You'll see here that your little training mode thing under special moves list will show you everything that your character can do. It doesn't include just like normal attacks, but it does include all of your special moves. It'll also show you any special directional moves you have, like 17, he has this forward down heavy. So if I press heavy, that's what it looks like. If I press down heavy, that's what it looks like. But if I press forward down heavy, it looks like that. So if you have any moves that are more complicated than just simply crouching or even moving forward, it will be in your special moves list. So first of all, what does this mean? So I have them on Xbox controls right now because I'm on PC, but for PS4, the X, Y, or B is going to be square, triangle, or circle. So this just shows you what direction you have to go and then the button you have to press. So volleyball fist is quarter circle forward, square or triangle or heavy. And that's just, I just showed you how to do that. So that's quarter circle forward light, quarter circle forward medium, and then quarter circle forward heavy is this one. Typically your special moves when you use the heavy button as opposed to the light or medium buttons will use half a bar, so you can see my bar will go down by half when I do this. That's what's called an EX moves. So it's, I mean, you say it like I'm EXing my move, kind of thing like that. It just uses half a bar. Usually the properties of it are different than the normal light attack version. Like you can see that when Tien does his volleyball fist normally, it just looks like that, but then the heavy attack version is a little bit different. Same thing with medium ones. The medium ones usually aren't that much different from the light ones, but they're different enough that sometimes it's important to know. If you play Tien, his volleyball fist, the light attack version is just, you know, exactly what it looks like. But the medium attack version is actually has some armor on it, so when he's kind of standing there menacingly, he's actually blocking. So if any attack hits him while he's doing that, he'll block it and then continue to do the volleyball fist, and that's why the medium version is a little bit different. It also goes farther. So this is the light attack version, and then the medium attack version goes much farther. It goes almost full screen. So yeah, that's another one of those things where when you get your team, just go in here and try all of their special moves and see what they do. Alright, so remember in the beginning of the video when I said this was going to be quick? Well, I just edited the first part of it, and it's definitely not quick, so I'm sorry that I'm a liar, but we're coming towards the end. The last thing I want to talk about is how stuff changes when your characters on your team die, and then the last part of the video will be all about combos. So let's go ahead and finish up with stuff about when your characters die. So let me actually swap into Tien here, and then we're going to kill everyone. So let's go ahead and do that. Goodbye, goodbye. Alright, so my opponents, or my teammates rather, are now dead. So there's a couple UI changes that happens when you're the last character alive. You'll notice that his health bar now has this like yellow aura around it, and also his sparking gauge has changed colors. So if we look over on Yamcha's side here, we'll see that he doesn't have that yellow aura, and also his sparking gauge is just this yellow lightning bolt as opposed to this red lightning bolt. What these mean is that if you were the last character alive, you will do more damage than you do normally. So if I bring back my teammates really quick here, and we do Tien's medium attack, that does 700 damage. Now I'm going to kill him. And when I do this attack again, it's doing 840 damage. So you get a damage boost when you are the last character alive. Your sparking also changes depending on how many characters on your team are left alive. If one character on your team is dead, your sparking will last slightly longer, and if both characters on your team are dead, your sparking will last much longer, and you will get a slightly bigger damage boost. So if I spark with both my teammates alive, spark, you'll see that it only lasts a couple seconds. I don't remember what the exact time on it is, but once he stopped sparkling, it just ran out, so that was that. And then if we kill him and we're the last person alive, it's going to last much longer. I'll just do the entire combo right here. In fact, while we're waiting, it's not even out yet, we're still going. So your sparking will last longer if you're the last person alive. You'll also do more damage in general. If you're the last person alive and you use your sparking, I think that's like something crazy, like a 40% damage boost. It's either like 40 or like 25 or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but it is pretty significant. When Tien's the last character alive, for example, he can now kill people in one hit, which is insane. Not every character can do that, but I mean, that's just an example of how powerful being the last character with sparking it can be in this game. So you don't always want to save it for your last character. It's good to do that, but like, you know, if you want that damage boost, it's fine, but you can also use it earlier. There's depends on if you want to save it for your last character, or typically what I like to do is I like to use it on my second character. That way the damage boost gets kind of spread out. So, you know, if I have, because Android 17 is going to be the first out on the field for me, so, you know, if I have Android 17 dead and I have Tien and Janemba left, rather than giving Janemba the entire like 30% damage increase, if I give Tien the 20% increase of using Spark, and then Janemba has the 20% increase of being the last person alive, that gives me slightly more of a spread out advantage than just using my Spark for Janemba as my last character. But again, that's a personal preference thing. As you play more, you'll start to understand when you want to use it, why you want to use it. It's something that you just have to learn how to do, either from playing or from, you know, watching other people play. Okay, so we have reached the last section of the video where we're going to talk all about combos. So the first thing I want to talk about is teching out of combos. This is one of the most important things about combos, and it doesn't even involve you doing any combos. So we're going to talk about that first. So first of all, I'm going to do a combo on Yamcha. Boop, boop, boop. Notice this little thing right here, it says 7 hits. Notice how the colors are red. So, hang on, I messed up my combo, but here we go. So the colors are red, it's just telling you how many hits are in your combo. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have him not tech, and we're going to see how that changes. So if I do mid-air recovery off, now, you see how that just turned blue? That means that Yamcha could have teched out of the combo, but he didn't. So let's talk about what teching is. You always want to keep an eye on that. If a combo turns blue, it means that you could have teched out, but you didn't. And so it's important for you to understand what you need to be doing to tech out of a combo. So I'm going to drop my combo here on purpose. So you see how Yamcha just flashed white and then he rolled away? That is what is called teching. It's basically when your opponent drops their combo by not chaining their moves together correctly. You get the opportunity to roll away from the combo and start blocking again. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like again. The way you tech out of a combo is by holding a button. Usually what I like to do is I like to use my light attack button, which is square on PS4. You just, while you're being comboed, so like if I was Yamcha, I'd be holding square right now. While you're being comboed, just hold on to that button until the combo is over. If you do that, as soon as your opponent drops their combo, you will roll out. You should do this every time you are getting comboed, no matter what the combo looks like, because people drop things in the most unexpected way. You can also tech in a different direction. If you hold square and then like hold back or something, you can roll back, you can roll forwards, you can go up, you can go down. If you land on the ground, you can even stay on the ground a little bit longer than normal. That's more of an advanced topic, so we won't talk about it. But always be holding a button. You don't have to use square like I do, but I mean, it's the easiest one to hold for me. Whenever you're getting comboed, always be holding it and get ready to block. Because, you know, if, you know, I'm gonna like accidentally not finish my combo, boom, you now have the advantage on me. So always be looking out for that. So now I'm going to talk about the buttons a little bit more, and we'll talk about how a combo is made. There's a natural progression to how combos are made and how your buttons work. The progression goes from light to medium to heavy, and you can insert your special attack anywhere in there. You can also insert your special moves anywhere in there. So if I do like light quarter circle forward light, I can do that, or I can do like medium quarter circle forward heavy, stuff like that. TNs doesn't work because of how his moves work, but in general you can do that. So light from medium to heavy. I feel like that's pretty intuitive. It just gets heavier as you go up the progression. You cannot go backwards in the progression. If I tried to do light to medium, that works fine. But if I try to do medium light, you see how he only hits one time? That's because you can't go backwards in the order. You can only go forwards. The exception to this is you can go from medium to light in the air, but that's the only normal exception. There are some other exceptions, but it's more of an advanced topic or character specific, so we won't talk about them. But normally what you do is light, medium, heavy, and then it works that way. That's how all combos are made, is using different variations of that progression, and then mixing in special moves, special attacks, supers, things like that. I'm going to show you an example of what's called the Saiyan BNB. Saiyan just refers to like Super Saiyan, like Goku and stuff like that. That's because all of the Saiyans can do this combo. Other characters that aren't Saiyans can also do it, but not all characters can do it, so just keep that in mind. If you're playing a character like Frieza or Janemba can't do this either, you won't be able to do this combo. Yamcha can't do this combo, but most beginner characters can do it. So I'll just show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like. I do it a little bit differently from how it's annotated, but I will do my best to teach you how most people do it, because it'll be easier for you to translate if you like talk to somebody else about it. But what it is you do light, light, medium, medium, and then you do something called a jump cancel. You follow them into the air, and then you like launch them further and you continue your combo. But we're going to start with jump canceling. Jump canceling is basically you cancel your attack into a jump and then you do another attack. So what that looks like is this. So I jump canceled, hit medium. The way you do this is by pressing up forward like that. It's just, I hope you can see it on here, but it's like this. I'm pushing up and forward at the same time. You just tap it. You don't have to hold the button. If you're ever doing this and like something like that comes out, what that is you accidentally held it instead of like tried to just press it really quickly. So just keep that in mind. You just have to tap it and then let go. Jump canceling is a very important part of doing combos manually. You can't do almost any combo without jump canceling, so it is another thing that you need to practice. The easiest way to practice it is by doing this. You want to do crouch, medium, standing medium, jump cancel, medium. So that's what that looks like. That is crouch, medium, standing medium, jump cancel, medium. Just do this over and over again until you get a feel for how it works, and then once you kind of understand how it works, you will be able to translate it into what other moves you need to do. That's just like the most important part of the combo process. I would say that's probably the part that I struggled the most with, so if you don't get it right away, don't feel bad, and if you do get it right away, then you're a god, so congrats. But yeah, that's how I would practice it. Crouch medium, standing medium, jump cancel medium. The other important part of a combo is a launcher. Typically your launcher is going to be your crouching heavy attack either in the air or on the ground. Not all characters have a crouching heavy attack in the air, but pretty much everybody has one on the ground. Yamcha, he has a normal crouching heavy attack on the ground, but he doesn't have one in the air, so this part of the combo process is not going to apply to Yamcha, unfortunately. He can't do the Saiyan BNB. As you see, he just like kicks Tien back down to the ground and we're kind of at square one, so this won't apply to Yamcha, unfortunately. But in general, yes, most characters have a crouching heavy. If you're not sure if your character does, just go into training mode, jump into the air, and press down heavy, and if they like kick upwards like that in some way, then they have one, so this will apply to you. The reason you needed a launcher is for your knockdown. So there are 3 different kinds of knockdown in this game. There's soft knockdown, hard knockdown, and sliding knockdown. Soft knockdown is what you get off of an auto combo. It looks like this. So watch Yamcha. You see how I kind of just bounced up off the ground really easily, no problem? That's a soft knockdown. A soft knockdown means that you can tech out of it pretty easily. It's bad for the person attacking you because it means that you get an advantage faster on them and you can be safer as they approach you. Soft knockdown is not what you want to go for. Like, it's okay if you get soft knockdown, but what you want to go for is either hard knockdown or sliding knockdown. Hard knockdown is what happens after a level 3 super, so in Tien's case, that's going to be his Neo Tri-Beam. Actually, let me get 17, because he is an easier example here. This is 17's level 3. So you see how Yamcha kind of bounced a little bit and then hit the ground? That's what a hard knockdown looks like. This is different from a sliding knockdown because he can't tech up as quickly. If you get hit with a level 3, you just kind of have to sit there and, you know, take whatever your opponent's going to throw at you. If you get a soft knockdown, you can tech away really fast and get away. And then if you get a sliding knockdown, you do get knocked down to the ground, so it's a little bit worse for you than a soft knockdown, but you can decide which direction you want to tech in, either up to either side or down. So it's a little bit, you have a little more control than if you're in a hard knockdown after a level 3. Sliding knockdown looks like this. So watch Yamcha again. His like face slides along the ground and then he kind of bounces back up. That's what a sliding knockdown looks like. To get a sliding knockdown, what you need in your combo is a launcher, so you're crouching down heavy, and then you need a smash attack ender. Smash attacks are these, the ones that zoom in a little bit, and you do them at the end of your combos, like that, to get a sliding knockdown. You can only get that smash attack if you use a launcher of some kind, or some characters have a different way to get a sliding knockdown while they're in the air. Janemba has his crouching 2M. So because Janemba doesn't have an air launcher, the way you get smash attacks is a little bit different than, you know, for a character like Tien who does have an air launcher. This is going to be different for any character that doesn't have an air launcher. Yamcha's is different, and I don't know what it is, so unfortunately I can't show you. But for Janemba, it looks like this. So first of all, notice that he doesn't have a launcher. It doesn't knock them straight down. And I have to use this extra move, so I have to use my Ki Blasts and then my crouching medium in order to get a sliding knockdown. If you're using a character like Yamcha or Frieza or something like that, either just ask in the Discord how to get a sliding knockdown or look it up online. It's different for everybody. Like Coolers, you have to use his Dragon Punch, I think, to get a sliding knockdown, so it's just wildly different from character to character, so feel free to ask. You can also just look it up for yourself if you're interested. Okay, so we talked about our launchers and knockdowns. We talked about jump canceling, which is something you need to practice. You do need to, while you're comboing, you do need to press them at a certain speed. So if I'm comboing Yamcha and he's like teching out before I get a chance to complete my combo, that just means you're not pressing the buttons fast enough usually. You do need to press them at a certain speed. The game has this stun time right here, so when I'm hitting him, just check out this little bar right here. This is more of a complicated thing, but basically the idea is if that bar runs out while you're doing your attack, it means that you're doing it too slow, and he's going to tech out before you get the chance to finish your combo. When we were talking about teching, I mentioned dropping combos. Typically what you do when you drop combos is you like miss an attack or a button, or you don't do it fast enough. That's just how combos work, so if I don't do my buttons fast enough, then he can tech out. Okay, so we're going to go back to the Saiyan B&B now. We talked about jump canceling, we talked about launchers. You can super dash after a launcher if it's a smash attack, so I'm going to show you how that looks. So what I want you to look out for is when Tien does his air crouching heavy like that, you'll notice that it zooms in like a smash attack, and then I'm going to follow it up with a super dash. So your launcher will send them far enough away that you can't just normally jump towards them, which is why you need to super dash. And you can only super dash once per combo, so if you start your combo with a super dash like this, you can't super dash again to follow them, so that is important to know. This is also why I said don't play Master Roshi as a beginner, because you can't do this. You have to input a special move to do stuff like that, and also it's more difficult for you to cover the screen. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for all of the components of our Saiyan B&B, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it again. and we're going to see what that looks like. Another component of your combo is you can only jump as many times as you can normally. So you can double jump normally, which means during your combos you can only jump twice. If you'll notice, I only jump cancel twice during this combo. So there's one super dash. I'm going to jump cancel a second time. If I were to continue the combo right now, it would not let me because it does not let you jump any higher than that. So remember that you can only double jump during your combos. It kind of resets itself if you land on the ground. So if I were to do something like this, where I jump cancel, oh wait, that's a terrible example because my assists, but if I were to jump cancel, use an assist and land on the ground, I can then double jump again. This is more of an advanced topic for when you start working assists into your combos, so we'll just leave it at that for now, but just know that during a combo, you can only jump as many times and jump cancel as many times as you can normally, which is twice. Alright, so let's do it one more time. So we're applying everything we know. We're talking about how you can only go from light to medium to heavy. We're talking about jump canceling. We're talking about launchers and the kind of knockdown we have. We're not even using any special moves in that combo, which is why it's such a universal combo, because it doesn't rely on a specific character's special moves. And honestly, once you have, jump canceling down, you can do this no problem. You're going to understand basically 90% of what this game is about. If you're interested in learning more about combos, what you can do is you can go online and look up combos for your specific characters. There's like written lists of combos you can do, but also you can watch videos. Kuanker or KRT on YouTube, he has extensive videos about combos for specific characters that you can look up. There are also a lot of like beginner combo tutorials. There's a couple people I recommend if you're a beginner and are trying to learn stuff about the game in this way, so I can go ahead and link those to you guys in the description of this video. But that's pretty much it for now. If you can figure out how to do this basic combo, which I will annotate for you in the notes, you're on your way, kid, so good luck with that. This is the Saiyan B&B. One note about the notation is I will use the letters for the attacks, not the buttons, so it will be light, medium, and heavy, which on PlayStation controls is going to be square, triangle, circle, so that's what that means. Another thing about notation is you may have seen that people use numbers in fighting game combo notations. What this refers to is if you look at the number pad on a computer keyboard, you'll see that the numbers are all laid out in this grid that's 3x3. And when you see numbers in fighting game combo notation, it's just referring to numbers as the directions that you push. So if you look at the numpad, you'll see that 5 is in the middle. 5 is what's called neutral, which means you're not pressing any button at all. 6, you can see it's in front of the 5, so that would be pressing forward. 4 is pressing backwards, 2 is down, 8 is up, and then the other 4 numbers are like in the corners like that. So if you see something like 2H, what that means is press down, press H, and that's the move that will come out. If you see something like 6M, that means hold forward, press M. So that's just how fighting game combo notation works. So I think that's gonna do it. I think we talked about everything I wanted to cover. Like I said, this is just kind of beginner tips. It's how the game works. What I recommend you do is, after you watch this video, go and do the tutorial again if you've already done it even, and then go into the Fighters Dojo and do the tutorials there as well. The tutorials might even be easier for you if you've already watched this video because I already told you what it all means and now you're just practicing it. So the last thing I want to say is how to practice. First of all, always do things from both sides, especially with more complicated combos like this Janemba combo that I do. It is difficult to get your hands to work both ways, so always do things from both sides. It's very important. In general, don't get too frustrated at yourself if you're not getting something right away. If you're starting to get annoyed, set the controller down and walk away and do something else for a second and then come back to it. You will do better when your head's a little clearer and you're a little calmer. Start by practicing those things I mentioned, like quarter circle forwards and backwards, and also jump canceling. If you can get the Saiyan B&B down, no problem. And I can't do it with Janemba, like I just said. If you can get the Saiyan B&B down, no problem, from both directions. You can either start working on specific combos for your characters, by looking them up online, or you can start working on defense. The way you work on defense is by setting up the training dummy to attack you. I can make a different video about that, or just link you to the video that I watched to learn how to do that, and work on your defense, which is, you know, the entire second part of the game. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. I don't know that I have anything else for you as far as beginner tips go. Like, there's still more stuff to talk about, like frame data. We could talk about how your sparking changes the order of your moves. But I mean, I think that's more of an advanced topic, and this video is long enough already. And those are really just the beginner things that you need to know. So hopefully this video helped you out. Please let me know if it did. Also let me know if it didn't help you and there's something else you want me to talk about. But either way, thanks for watching. I know it's a long video, so I appreciate it. And hopefully you learned something new and are going to have fun at our tournament this, you know, coming week. Actually, it's coming up pretty fast. So thank you guys. Have a good day.